are not prepared! Sylvanas Windrunner!
Sylvanas Windrunner. What a controversial character. I've been wavering back and forth between utter disdain and hatred for the character she's become to my now unwavering love for her achievements and motivations, her growth as a character, the hardships she's faced, most of all her motivations as a protagonist in her own story. Since Battle for Azeroth, as a fan of Sylvanas, and as a fan of Warcraft, I've been fighting with myself on whether or not the people over at Blizzard can write a competent story anymore. The way in which this new Sylvanas was delivered to us was jarring, and completely out of character from the way she'd acted in the past. I'd always seen Sylvanas as an anti-hero character up until this point. A character who didn't play by the rules and would do just about anything to protect the people who protect her. The Horde. The Horde were the only people to take in this band of refugees, this motley crew of Arthas' top rejects. Sylvanas' people, the Alliance, her people forsook her, cast her aside as a monster. And in the wake of that, Sylvanas perseveres through to create a homestead for herself and her people in Lordaeron. Every action taken up until Battle for Azeroth was seemingly in defense of, or in support of, her people, the Forsaken, and by proxy, the Horde. Many of us rejoiced in celebration when Sylvanas stood on Vol'jin's pyre and asked us,
Vol'jin is dead. Who among you will help me avenge him?
The nerd inside of me shed a tear. This character I'd followed for so long, this hero of the Horde, was finally going to show us, and by proxy the world, that just because she was undead didn't mean she wasn't a great and heroic leader. This was the moment where I felt the stereotypical nature of the undead was being flipped, and we could finally carry our Sylvanas simp dollars all the way to the bank. But that's not what happened.
Don't grieve. You'll soon join your loved ones.
I grieve for you. You've made life your enemy. And that is a war you'll never win. You can kill us, but you cannot kill hope.
Can't I? Burn it. Burn it!
Now, Teldrassil wasn't the only thing that made many of us cringe. Seeing Sylvanas try to enslave the leader of the Valkyrs had us asking questions, but at the time we thought, well, she will do anything to save her people. It's in line with her character. It's not that bad. And honestly, I agreed with that sentiment. However, seemingly burning down the Night Elf homeland and killing thousands of people only to paint a big red "come kill me" sign on her back just made no sense. It made no sense coming from the Sylvanas we'd grown to know at the time. This jarring change of pace was catastrophic in the community. Many Horde loyalists grew excited to see the uncanny bloodshed, a return to form for Warcraft. PvP was back, baby. While the people who really enjoyed how the lore had developed up until that point were confused and felt betrayed.
Traitorous Banshee! You know not what you are meddling with!
Submit. The Valkyr are mine.
Throughout the story, I truly do believe that everything I said about Sylvanas is true. Her insistent need to find a way to prolong her life, her reckless disregard for authority, driven by a sense of desperation and a need for protection, so that she would never feel as vulnerable as she did when Arthas sundered her soul. Safe to say most of you are probably thinking this entire premise is garbage. Sylvanas as a hero? She's done so many terrible things. How could anyone like that be seen as someone who's a hero? Someone who has enslaved, killed, and murdered thousands to achieve their goals. Someone who turned to an even badder bad for power. Someone, for better or for worse, had no problem doing the dirty work that was necessary to complete their goals. Sound familiar? It should. Because one of the greatest anti-heroes in all of Warcraft fits that exact same description. A certain chosen one, an elven male.
Imprisoned for 10,000 years.
We saw firsthand as a character once seen as a villain, an indisputably horrible character, turned face and revealed the depths of their thoughts, opening up about their motivations with a cocky smile and a wisecrack here and there. The community at large cheered as Illidan popped all of his cooldowns and I-beamed Zira out of existence.
We are blessed to be in your presence once more, Zira.
Turalian, you have found the Chosen One. Illidan, from birth, the light in your eyes held such promise for the future.
I sacrificed that birthright long ago.
Do you not wish to reclaim what was lost? To be whole again?
The Legion's end is all I seek.
My child, you've given so much for so little. Your true potential, your redemption, lies before you. Let go of your shattered form and embrace the light's power.
I've traded my freedom for power before.
The prophecy must be fulfilled. Your old life has passed. The light will forge you a new one.
It is not yours to take.
The light will heal your scars.
I am my scars!
The light is your destiny.
My destiny is my own!
Now, with a character like Illidan beloved by so many, we ended up loving his characterization in the end because we knew what the intent behind his actions were. When it comes to Sylvanas, up until now, the intention seems strange. Is her goal to live forever, to become the ultimate bad and just take over everything? For so long, it's been up in the air, but recently some info shed some light on exactly what's going on. Surprising no one, the jailer's been lying to Sylvanas and manipulating her from the beginning. Throughout the initial campaign, we were witness to Sylvanas' intentions, her lack of choice in life, and how no matter what she does, she's unable to be happy, even after she dies. The system is fundamentally broken, and she was shown that when she died for the second time. When she cast herself from atop Ice Crown, she was flung into the maw and offered a deal. The Valkyr will serve her if she simply provided a direction for them, and if she helped the jailer. The Valkyr sacrificed themselves to resurrect the Banshee Queen, only after being shown a vision of the future in which Garrosh tossing her people to the wayside, throwing them into the metaphorical meat grinder, wasting her people, her arrows and her quiver. Not only did the fear of being doomed to a life of torment cause her to realize that the system was broken, but I genuinely believe that she felt sorrow in seeing her Forsaken being slaughtered so needlessly. "Forward!" the Marshal cried, his command cut short as a musket ball shattered his lower jaw. The wall before him was broken but still offered cover from the snipers hidden in the rain above. The weather poured from the sky in white sheets, drenching attackers and defenders alike. The Marshal toppled over, careening down a pile of rubble like a sack of cordwood, coming to rest in the thick mud below. Like the bogged-down demolishers and meat wagons of the artillery, his troops were making no progress. Any normal man would have been dead for sure, but being that the Marshal was already dead, he soon clawed his way back up from the mud, spitting coagulated blood and ichor from the remains of his face. To the north, across a long stretch of rutted field, and on the other side of the gauzy filter of rain, Garrosh Hellscream tried to piece together what was happening along the front. He could see the gray silhouette of the Great Gilnean Wall, slotted with enormous diagonal gaps where the Cataclysm had wrenched it wide open. Were his Korkron at the front, they'd have walked right through. He grunted as a Forsaken scouting party trundled back through the mud, ragged and beaten. Even in victory, the Forsaken looked like corpses. In defeat, they looked even worse. "Your scouts are useless. I sent them to harass the wall's defenses, and they crawl back like some whipped dogs." Garrosh snorted, not even looking at his companion. The great brown-skinned orc was festooned in the most menacing battle garb, his veiny, tattooed biceps bursting out from beneath the tusked shoulder guards. Although he stood right in front of his tent, he refused to step back out of the rain. It dribbled over his scowling face and blackened jaw. Next to the great orc and sheltered under the canopy, Master Apothecary Leiden looked positively frail. His pockmarked face winced under the matted mess of purple and gray hair, as he tried to formulate a response that would have earned him another round of verbal abuse from the war chief. "I can assure you they're giving as good as they get," he said in measured tones, his voice rough and shallow. "Gilnean defenses are almost certainly in disarray." "Then why are your scouts limping back instead of pressing forward?" Garrosh kicked aside a barrel. Behind him, his own troops weathered out the rain. 4 companies of elite hand-picked orc and Tauren warriors, supported by 5 battalions of Orgrimmar's hardest. They stretched over the fields of Silverpine, a sea of green and brown faces against the backdrop of bright red banners. "And where are the promised regiments from Lordaeron? There to flood the breach, we waste time." Leiden knew better than to talk tactics with the hard-headed war chief, but he had grown desperate as the hour of attack had approached. He licked his gray lips, a dark purple tongue, and tried to answer casually, hoping to elicit some reason. "Slowed by the rain, no doubt. They should arrive soon. They are absolutely Lordaeron's finest, the very heart of our infantry, and backbone of our entire endeavor." Garrosh stroked the sides of his face with his knuckles. He eyed the terrain and mentally positioned the coming infantry and cavalry as Leiden spoke. "But you can't just send them into the central breach of the wall," Leiden continued. "It's a choke point. Well fortified, closely watched, heavy armored troops on horseback couldn't maneuver through the breach. They'd be mown down by musket fire from debris. Surely you can see." "Of course I see," Garrosh answered. "The door is wedged open. Now it must be kicked down. This is what your kind is good for." Now the war chief looked directly at the master apothecary, his cool eyes fixated on the pale yellow light that filled the latter's eye sockets. "You're already corpses, nearly impossible to kill. You flood the choke point. You open the way for the rest of the horde to come through, fresh and eager, rushing over a bridge of broken bodies if we have to. This is how fortifications are breached, how wars are won. For as long as I've known Sylvanas, her people were like arrows in a quiver, a master tactician using her people when she needed, but not wasting them away into nothing. Defending in life her home as she did in death, leading others and making the really hard choices that come with being a leader. If it weren't for Sylvanas being the person that she was, Arthas would have never taken such a hatred for her. Such a seething hatred that caused him to bare his fangs and plunge Frostmourne deep into her heart. Sylvanas, from her point of view, has been a fighter, a warrior, fighting to break an unfair system. Death, well, death means nothing when the Shadowlands is as corrupt as it is. When people like the Jailer exist, does it really matter whether we die or live? Killing the Darnassian people worked to fuel her strength, power her up so that she was able to break the veil. Those deaths seem so monstrous from our perspective, but from someone who has seen past the veil, eventually those souls would live a new life. Once the will of death was broken, as it stands now, I see Sylvanas as a freedom fighter, someone who killed thousands in order to save billions. The Dark Knight of Warcraft, the hero we need and not the one that we deserve. Sylvanas is our modern Illidan. A hero who smiles and fights for good isn't really a hero. They are nothing more than a poster you hang on your wall, wishfully admiring from afar. Sylvanas in the end of 9.1 is a character that perseveres. She's a character that's been manipulated and used ever since Arthas struck her down. Never being allowed to make a choice, she died defending the world, and in death, she was ostracized and segregated from others. Her people shunned her and caused her to lean on an opposing force for aid. She became the leader of the downtrodden, and when she pierced the veil, she began working on a way to free us all from our eternal torment. And with that being said, Sylvanas is my hero. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Make sure if you liked the video, you like it. If you didn't like it, you don't like it. It's all cool. No matter what, it's all good. We're good. We're good, man. We're good. Post down in the comments below. What do you think? Is she a hero? Is she a villain? I don't know. You guys know how I feel. Give me your take. Give me your hot take on the situation. I look forward to reading it. Don't forget, guys, I stream Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 7 p.m. onwards, depending on when I start. I start at either 7 p.m. or I start at 9. I'd love to see you all there. Please give this video some love. It took a lot of work, it took a lot of effort, and took a lot of research. So I hope to see you guys in the future and more videos like this coming soon. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night. Peace.